Previously, we upgraded the BRZ's exhaust and now the car finally sounds like it should. It's not disappointing. But there's still one thing that's driving me crazy every time I walk up to it. In general, the stock BRZ suspension setup is actually more than fine. It was literally tuned by Subaru to be track oriented compared to the GR86, which is a little bit more playful. But Subaru probably considered daily driving a little bit too much because this thing's got some massive wheel gap, which we need to fix. Now, we could just slap some coilovers on this car and call it a day, but it gets complicated really fast. We're talking setting droop, motion ratio, your bump stops, helper springs when you're setting a certain ride height. And then you got to get it all aligned properly. And when you go too low, you've got even more parts, especially on Subaru, that you have to replace in the back because you can't even set toe properly, or you can't set your camber correctly. So all of this adds up really fast. We're talking $2,000 to $3,000 minimum just for a good, proper street/track alignment setup. So we're gonna keep it simple with some Eibach lowering springs. Full install, start to finish. We're also gonna take some measurements to see how much of the ride height actually drops compared to what the manufacturer states. Then we're gonna take it out for a little test drive to see if we've made any improvement compared to the OEM setup.
All sponsored by Import Image Racing. Before we touch a single bolt, we're getting baseline numbers, measuring from the center of the wheel cap to the top of the fender liner. When we're all finished, we will compare it to the lowering springs.
While it's totally fine to measure from the wheel cap to the top fender liner arch to get an idea of how much drop we're getting from these springs, a true technical measurement will be from the front and rear control arm pivot points.
Without proper alignment stands, getting to these points proved to be difficult. It won't be a perfect measurement, but it'll be close enough.
First thing is first, we need to remove all 4 struts. Now, I like to start in the front because I find the rear is a little trickier. Once we have all 4 of them off, we can get to the technical part, which is gonna be removing the springs. Something I picked up working with Nolan is that, all professional mechanics, they're actually gonna mark all their bolts as they torque them down. Now, it's probably 50-50. Most people actually probably don't do this when they're working on their car at home. I started doing this, so I mark all my bolts, so when I take everything off, I can check to see if there was any movement. ABS line, don't wanna break this.
For the most part, it's relatively easy to get all the struts out, but there's one thing you should look out for.
One really important thing, especially when removing anything on the front suspension, is gonna be these ABS sensors. Now, I've actually broken one before. That's not what I wanted. So ask me how I know.
The front comes out super easy. There's 3 nuts on the top hat, 2 bolts in the knuckle, 1 bolt to the brake line, and 1 nut on the end link. In the rear, it's almost as simple. 2 top hat nuts, which always prove to be difficult to reach. And in this case, I had to remove the lower control arm bolt knuckle, end link, and the actual strut to remove it and swing it down out of the way. Previously, I didn't consider the fact that I had aftermarket lower control arms, and I didn't actually think it was going to matter, but it turns out that it actually does, and that I had made a mistake.
Just like that. Now this is our rear strut. There's a couple ways to take this thing apart. There's a simple nut on the top, which I could either crank off with a impact if I have a strong enough one, but I prefer to use a pass-through socket. So socket goes on the top, I can pass through my hex key right here on the top, and I can start cranking away. However, the spring is compressed. So if you were to just take this bolt off with this spring compressed, it's going to shoot off like a rocket. This is a spring compressor, so I can attach this to the spring and slowly impact it down to reduce the tension. Once that tension's gone, I can essentially remove that top bolt safely and no injuries. Now, from what I've seen on the internet, which of course is always true, the rears don't actually have that much tension, so I probably could have removed this without using these spring compressors, but we're gonna be safe and use them anyway. And as you can see, I've got both of them cranked down, and so it's got no tension here. I can move it around. So once I take this off, actually I already loosened it, so I can just pull it off. So.
However, the fronts are a different story. There is an enormous amount of tension on these springs, and you 100% must use the spring compressors to safely remove them.
Now, our spring of choice is gonna be the Eibach Pro Kit. The fronts are designed to provide 1.2 inches of drop, and then the rears are designed to provide 1 inch of drop. Most importantly, they are designed to work with these OEM struts. Why does this matter? Well, if you pair a spring that's not designed to work with one of these, it's going to fail prematurely.
For the rear, reassembly is the same way we took it off. However, we do need to modify the bump stop to work with the lower spring. And because the rears are even shorter than the stock OEM springs, we do not need to use spring compressors to reinstall them. There's indentations on the top perch, so all we need to worry about is making sure the spring lines up with that and there's no offset. For the fronts, we do need to make the same bump stop modification, and we also need to use the spring compressors. Because these springs are shorter than the OEM ones, it's a little tricky to get the spring compressors on and clamped all the way down, enough for that top perch to fit over so you can get that initial thread engagement on the top nut. With all the struts swapped out with the lowering springs, all we have to do is install everything just like we took it off, and then we can take it for a proper test drive.
I am noticing a interesting clunk. Now in the fronts, it does say in the instructions to align the bottom perch with the top perch, and I'm pretty sure I did that. But there is a weird clunk coming from the front end right now. Maybe I didn't align it correctly, I'm not sure. You mostly hear it just like when you tap a bump, you know, like right there. You can definitely hear it when you hit a little bump. Now with the McPherson on the BRZ, it does state in the instructions to ensure that the bottom perch and top perch are aligned. Now there's really only one way to put it on, so I'm pretty confident like I didn't mess that up.
There was also one other issue. While the front looks really great and the wheel gap is perfect, the rears on the other hand look a little bit too low. So it's back to the garage to investigate.
After further inspection, it looks like the front sway bar end links are adjustable. Now this car previously did have coilovers on it and it was slammed to the ground. When I replaced the coilovers with the OEM struts, I didn't really pay attention when I put the sway bar end link back on. I assumed it was just the OEM one, but no, this was swapped out. I did not swap this out myself. So what's happening is the end link is actually set to the shortest position possible. Every time I hit a bump and it compresses, the sway bar is actually contacting the frame, causing the clunking sound.
This is a simple fix. All we need to do is loosen the sway bar end links, adjust them so they are longer, and then measure them on both sides to make sure they're the same length. Unfortunately, I don't know the OEM length, so I'm guessing with 7 inches. This will solve the problem for now, but the true way to set these end links is to put the car on the ground and adjust them so there's no preload.
Now the problem in the rear is these lower control arms. So from glance, you can tell right away they are not a standard control arm. They've got a dip and then it goes flat. Now I did not put these on the car and I did not know they were going to be an issue.
These are the Megan Racing Type 2 lower control arms. They're specifically designed for cars with more than a 2-inch drop. They are also designed to lower the car 20 millimeters versus stock to correct for roll center.
Now to correct that problem, we need to go with a more OEM style option. So from glance, you could tell this does not have that dip, so we will not get that lowered offset. It's got a couple spots for your end links, your strut, your knuckle, and then the rear has a camber adjustment, so we will need the camber adjustment, which is why I went with these ones. And this is Import Image's in-house brand, Midnight Drive, which I actually run on my track car, my WRX. So I've used them for a season, I've tracked them. I know they can withstand abuse and they will be perfect for the BRZ.
With both of our problems corrected, I can finally get this car on the ground and take some post-install measurements. Now for some before and after measurements. Unfortunately, in the rear we had that lower control arm issue, so we're not going to get a perfect comparative measurement, so I didn't even bother. In the front, it's a different story. We do have a good measurement baseline because we had no issues. So before we put these springs on, we had a measurement from the center wheel cap to the top of the fender liner of about 14.5 both sides. Technically, the front right was more around 14 3/8, but could have been, tilted a little bit, so we're going to call it 14.5. After we installed the springs, we got a drop to 13 1/8 on both sides. Overall, we are getting that 1.2 inches of drop that Eibach said they would. Now I know I said I was going to be driving this car, but it is in need of a major alignment. Camber was all messed up on both sides in the rear. There was also a toe issue, which I tried to correct a little bit myself. And in the front, the steering wheel is all crooked. So we're gonna get this car professionally aligned first, and then I'm gonna drive the car for 30 days and report back the results. So be sure to subscribe.